You know, it's funny. Most of us grew up in a culture that treats being tired like it's some kind of badge of honor, right? We're told to work more, sleep less, as if life is this big contest to see who can stay awake the longest. But what if we've had it completely backwards this whole time? What if the real superpower for being productive isn't found in just working endlessly, but is actually hidden deep inside our own body?
So let's just ask the question straight up. This whole hustle culture thing, this idea of sacrificing sleep for success, is that really a winning formula? Or are we maybe making a huge mistake that's actually holding us back from being our best selves?
And this right here is the heart of it all. It's a simple idea, but it's a total game changer. The secret isn't managing your time, it's managing your energy. I mean, think about it. Time is the one thing we all have in common. We all get the exact same 24 hours in a day. The real difference, the thing you can actually control, is the energy you bring to those hours. Okay, so if we're going to manage our energy, we have to understand where it comes from. We need to get to know our body's internal clock. This is our circadian rhythm, that natural, built-in process that controls when we feel awake and when we feel sleepy. And it runs on a cycle that's roughly 24 hours long. Buried deep inside your brain, there's this tiny little part called the suprachiasmatic nucleus. Let's just call it the SCN. Now, I want you to picture it as the conductor of a huge orchestra, and that orchestra is your body. This tiny little thing tells every system when to play, when to rest, when you should feel hungry, and when you should feel tired. It is the master timekeeper of your entire being.
And because of that master clock, your energy level during the day isn't just a flat line, not at all. It's more like a predictable wave. Your energy naturally rises in the morning and hits a peak. And then, and this is so important, it takes a totally normal, predictable dip in the afternoon. You know that sleepy feeling you get after lunch? Yeah, that's not the food. That's your biology. And then the wave just gently goes down in the evening, getting you ready for a good night's rest.
So what happens when we just ignore this beautiful natural rhythm? Well, that's where the trouble starts. When we decide we're just going to power through and fight against our own body, well, let's just say there's a very steep price to pay for that.
And here is a number that should really make you stop and think. Research has shown over and over that just one night of bad sleep can reduce your brain's performance by up to 40%. 40! And we're not just talking about feeling a little groggy. This hits your most important skills. Your creativity, your ability to solve problems, even your basic logic just takes a nosedive.
I love this quote because it just says it all. Trying to work when you're exhausted, it's like trying to win a race with flat tires. I mean, sure, you might inch forward a little bit, but you're damaging the car and you have absolutely zero chance of actually winning. You're just working harder and harder and getting nowhere. But here's the really scary part. When you're sleep deprived, the very first thing to go is your ability to even notice how badly you're doing. Your brain just gets used to it. This tired, foggy state becomes your new normal, and you don't even realize that you're operating as a less effective, weaker version of yourself. All right, so now that we see just how high the stakes are, it is time to bust some of those myths we tell ourselves about sleep. You know, the ones we use to feel okay about staying up way too late. Let's start with the big one. Oh, I can just train myself to need less sleep. This might be the most common myth out there. The truth is, how much sleep you need is determined by your genes. It's just like your height. You can't practice and train yourself to be taller, can you? Well, it's the same thing with sleep. You can't train your brain to defy what it biologically needs. And what about the classic, "It's fine, I'll just catch up on the weekend"? Look, sleeping in feels amazing, but this idea of a sleep debt isn't like a bank account you can just refill. You might feel a little less tired on the surface, but you can't just erase the damage that's already been done to your immune system, your metabolism, and your memory. And oh, this one's my favorite, because so many of us live by it. The idea that coffee can just replace sleep. Nope, not a chance. See, caffeine doesn't actually give you energy. All it does is block the signals in your brain that are screaming, "I'm tired." It's kind of like putting a little piece of black tape over the check engine light in your car. Sure, you can't see the warning anymore, but the problem? Oh, it's definitely still there. Hey, just a quick pause here. If you're finding this helpful, do me a quick favor and hit that like button and subscribe. It really helps the algorithm recommend this explainer to more people who might need to hear it, and it also helps me make more of these for you to enjoy. Thanks so much. Okay, enough with the problems. Let's get to the good stuff, the solution. How do we stop fighting our bodies and start working with them? The best part is, it's actually not that complicated. It really just comes down to 4 simple steps.
a little peace treaty with your body.
First up, and I promise you, this one is an absolute game changer. Get some morning light. I'm just talking 10, maybe 15 minutes of sunlight within the first hour you're awake. This one simple thing is like hitting the big start button for that master clock in your brain we talked about. It locks in your rhythm for the entire day. And get this, it actually helps you sleep better that night. How amazing is that?
Step 2 is all about defense. You have to protect your peak focus time. For most people, your brain is absolutely on fire for about 2 to 4 hours after you wake up. This is your golden window. So this is when you schedule your most difficult, your most important, your most creative work, and you treat that time like a VIP meeting. Guard it from emails, notifications, and all those other little distractions.
All right, next up is step 3, learn to love that afternoon dip. You know that slump? It's not a flaw in your system, it's a feature. So instead of fighting it with more coffee, just embrace it. Your body is telling you very clearly that it's time to ease up. It's the perfect time for a quick 20-minute power nap, or for doing those easier tasks like cleaning out your inbox. It's all about working smarter, not harder.
And finally, step 4, the one we so often skip, create a wind-down routine. Here's a great way to think about it. Your brain isn't an on-off switch. It's more like a dimmer. So for the last hour or two before you go to bed, start dimming the lights, both literally and figuratively. Step away from work, put down the phone, and signal to your brain that the day is over with something relaxing. Maybe it's a book, some quiet music, whatever works for you. You're basically building a gentle off-ramp into a great night's sleep.
And all of this brings us back to the big idea. The reason I called sleep your secret weapon. Because when you make sleep a priority, you're not losing time. You are making a powerful investment in the quality of every single one of your waking hours. Just let that sink in for a second. Fewer mistakes, less time redoing your work, less time just trying to force yourself to focus. A task that might take a tired you 4 hours to finish could take a well-rested you only 2, and you'd probably do a much better job. Now that is an incredible return on investment. So let's stop thinking about sleep as this luxury or as time that's just lost. It's an investment. The rest you invest in tonight pays you back tomorrow with higher focus, more creativity, and a better mood. You're not losing time. You are literally buying yourself more effective, high-quality time for tomorrow. So, let's do a super quick recap of those 4 keys to working with your body, not against it. Number 1, get that morning light to set your internal clock. 2, protect your peak focus window for your most important stuff. 3, embrace that afternoon dip. And 4, create a relaxing wind-down routine to ease into sleep.
And that brings me to my final question for you, and I want you to be honest with yourself. How many hours of sleep do you really get on an average night? And do you have a wind-down routine that you love? I would genuinely love to read about it, so please share it in the comments below. Thanks so much for joining me.